Hey guys, well, the Packers had to take a tough loss last night, losing 14-17 to the Minnesota Vikings. This is not an easy one to get over, but it is week 2, and hope is still on the horizon for the Green Bay Packers. We're going to talk all about it today, especially the offense and why it isn't clicking. So tune in, you YouTubers. We know you're going to love it, and hopefully it'll be a little bit therapeutic because I know that your Monday is a little less awesome because of the Packers' loss. But we're going to try and have a little bit of therapy out there for you. So check it out right here on Good Packer Nation Morning. Good Packer Nation Monday morning, ladies and gentlemen of Packer Nation. Packers coming off a tough loss to the Minnesota Vikings at US Bank Stadium. Not the most happy day in Packer Nation history right now, but emoji me your feelings on the game right now. Just jump on as you get on. Let me know how you're feeling. It looks like Adam is sad out there. We got some angry faces. I'm expecting quite a few of those, and we're going to talk all about it, to be quite honest. I'm not going to shy away from this one. So if you're not down for that, you don't need to watch this show. But if you're ready to really talk some serious Packer football and what's going wrong, let me know who you are and where you're coming at me from, and I will give you a shout out while you emoji me your feelings. Grayson is here. Jared is back. Adam, Trevor, good to see you. Benjamin and Dana. Mike, Michelle. Good to see all you guys. It is not the most exciting, or it's a tough Monday morning when you watch a late game and you got to see the Packers go down to none other than the Minnesota Vikings. First of all, in all fairness, we have to give credit to the Vikings. They played some great defense out there, and Sam Bradford, who had very little time to prepare for this game in an extremely crucial game, or well, at least a game with a playoff atmosphere in the second week of the season. You got to give a little credit to those guys out there. They proved that last year was no fluke. So this is a challenge for the Packers moving forward without a doubt, and one that I think we're up to eventually. All right, Philip is here, Debbie, Mike, Charles, and Anthony. Good to see you guys. All right. So I got my coffee, all right? I got a large dose of coffee today, all right? And keep emojiing me your feelings on this, guys. It's gonna be therapeutic. Everything's gonna be fine. Here's what I liked. I watched the press conferences after. I'm gonna tell you what I liked and what I didn't like about that, okay? So let's talk about Mike McCarthy's thoughts on the game, Aaron Rodgers' thoughts on the game. All right, the first things first, all right? The sky is not falling. This is week 2. We have made what could be a very big challenge for ourselves down the road. We had an opportunity. We were not able to get it done. But the sky isn't falling. This offense still has time to get in sync. On the other hand, why is this offense? We took the gamble of not putting our veterans in during the year. But let me say, we didn't put our defensive veterans in either, and the defense did just fine. All right, the defense did enough in this game. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I would have liked to seen, regardless, and I think they're correct, there's no reason to panic, like Aaron Rodgers said, but he also did not sit out there and kick back with a smug smile on his face and tell us to relax either. Because the fact of the matter is this offense is not in sync. I would have liked to have seen him take a little more responsibility for what cannot be called anything but a pretty bad game by Aaron Rodgers. Let's talk about the statistics for a minute here. Aaron Rodgers, 20 of 36 for 213 yards, 1 touchdown to Jordy Nelson on what was a trick play. Basically, it worked. I'm all for it. Jordy got the touchdown. But Sam Bradford had a better game than Aaron Rodgers, without a doubt. Aaron Rodgers' passer rating in this game, take a guess at it if you'd like, if you haven't seen it already. My cousin and I and Madison were texting each other back and forth about whether it was in the 60s or in the 70s. 70.7 passer rating for Aaron Rodgers in this game. Of course, the interception, not only does the interception hurt your passer rating, I'm not a huge passer rating guy, but look at the time it happened. The absolutely critical play of the game. An interception that absolutely ended the game, frankly. With the Vikings able to manipulate the clock, force us to use our timeouts, and run out the clock. Game over. I would have liked to have seen Aaron Rodgers just stand up there and say, "Hey, listen, I threw some bad balls. I got to get in sync. We've got some work to do." But more, it had to do with, well, we're not quite in sync just yet. Well, okay, better get in sync soon because we got the Detroit Lions breathing down our necks. Yes, we get to play this game at home, but it doesn't get easier for us. And the fact of the matter is, Aaron Rodgers had everybody but Jordy Nelson the entire preseason, all of training camp, and we're not in sync. You don't really have to be that in sync to hand the ball off and run the ball. Patrick out there agrees with me. And guys, I want to preface this whole, because I'm starting with the rants. We got Jeff Hayes might be out there scribbling down his rants and raves right now. I hope you're out there, Jeff. I hope you're doing it. People are loving it. He may find a lot of correspondence with me, all right? But I do want to end with some positives because like I began the show, I'm going to begin and end the show with the idea that the sky is not falling. But that doesn't mean there aren't problems. You can't call yourself a Packer fan and say that this kind of an offensive performance is okay, in my mind. Thumbs up if you agree. I mean, I know some people out there could be just saying, hey, let's go easy on these guys. I'm not the type to go easy on these guys. This is the Green Bay Packers. We expect winning football. And when it doesn't come our way, we get on them. I mean, coach needs to get on them. It's only week 2. The sky is not falling, but that doesn't mean corrections don't need to be made. Okay, so let me talk. I mean, hindsight is 20/20, guys. It's real easy to say we should have kicked the field goal on that 4th and short. I saw both McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers liked the call. Aaron Rodgers has to like the call because he is always calling for us to go for it on 4th down. So he has to back that call up. He doesn't have a choice at that, or he's contradicting himself. Because Aaron Rodgers is constantly on the sideline, angry when we don't go on 4th down. So he has to stay with that call. But when you're look at the situation in the game, to me, and this goes so against what McCarthy, I think McCarthy made that call because of, remember this week, Mike McCarthy got on and the question was asked whether he was a conservative play caller, and he said he was not. He said he didn't consider himself a conservative play caller. So Mike McCarthy in this game sees this chance, and he almost, I feel like Mike McCarthy went for it where he would have called for take the field goal, walk away with 3 points. And I think he made that call partially because he had made that statement about not being conservative. Now, to me, you take the points. There was no need to go for it on 4th down. And you tell the guys on the offense, you say, listen, if you want a touchdown in that, if you want to go for 7 points, you get 7 points in your 3 downs that you're allotted in this game. There is no reason we should not have been able to go in on 3 downs. To me, you take the points. I was talking, and again, Jeff, my cousin Jeff and Madison and I were chatting back and forth about this one. And, there's part of me, I don't like 4th down. I don't necessarily like going for it on 4th down if we can't get it in 3 downs from the 2-yard line or whatever it was. I prefer it more when there's sort of less to lose. We could have, and of course, hindsight is 20/20. Had we brought Mason Crosby on, kicked that field goal, that becomes a tie. And then the game becomes a very different story at the end. The Vikings then have to try to make something happen. Maybe we can do something on defense. But we got nothing instead. And we, at that point, one of the good parts about that call is we were able to finally get some field position. So I have a plan for today's show because I want to talk about offense, defense, special teams. I want to be sort of consistent. I want to keep things in the category. But when you have a loss like this, doesn't your mind just fly to all the coulda, shoulda, wouldas in a game like this? All right? But let me, for 1 minute, we're going to talk about the offense first. And let me first give out the game ball. Who out there has a game ball for one offensive player who did not just enough, but did more than enough in this game? I've got one name on my mind, and that name is Randall freaking Cobb. This guy was where he needed to be. Not only did he recover the 2 egregious fumbles, not only did he have, 5 catches for 42 yards, he didn't have a touchdown in this game. Jordy got that one. That's fine. Jordy was the leading receiver. Randall Cobb, 5 catches for 42 yards. He added to that Randall Cobb is a weapon on this team. Hey there, Trent. I see Trent jumping on. Randall Cobb is a weapon on this team. He came out of the backfield, and he was a difference maker. He was a guy that they had to think about, and he made things happen. And here's the thing, guys. If we keep having to use Randall Cobb like this, he's going to get hurt again. We're going to get Randall killed because nothing else can click on the offense. We are using Randall Cobb because we have to. And that is sad. But when he has to play this scat routine out there, he's going to get drilled one of these times. We've already had trouble with Randall Cobb getting dinged up. Both last game and in this game, I saw him get up and he looked a little sore. Man, I would love to be able to use Randall when it's absolute surprise and they just don't expect it. But right now, I feel like we need to go to Randall, especially when he's playing out of the backfield, because we just don't have anyone else who can get the job done. That's a problem. But definitely, to my mind, game ball goes to Randall Cobb on offense. He had a fantastic game. Of course, it was good to see Jordy Nelson get a touchdown again in this game. There were times when this offense, and that I think goes to McCarthy's call on 4th and 2 or whatever it was to go for it. There were times when this offense looked good. You know, there's no way around it. But let me ask you this. How many out there, I want to talk about what we got right, guys. Okay, so if you did Prediction Friday, none of us really, I don't know that most everybody was predicting the Packers to win, number one, which we have a propensity to do because we are Packer Nation. But we probably could have predicted a low-scoring defensive affair in this one. That was probably an oversight, especially on my part. I had a time to think this through. Probably we could have thought that this game very much could have been a defensive affair and a low-scoring game. However, we didn't expect our offense to stutter the way they did. I mean, I really think we could have won this game without a doubt. So here's what we did right, though. Remember, we talked about this game extensively last week, and there's a couple things in particular that we talked about. One on offense was that obviously we're going to need to run the ball, but how about the statement? I made this comment last week, and a lot of you guys agreed with me, all right? The tight ends play in this game was going to be crucial to which team won. You got Kyle Rudolph, who always tears us apart, and he scored a touchdown in the back corner of the end zone in this one. It looked early like the tight end play of the Minnesota Vikings was going to once again win the day for the Vikings. However, we finally came back and got our own tight ends involved. Jared Cook had the one boneheaded play where he had a first down and gave it up. A guy in the league as long as he is cannot make a mistake like that, but it happened. But Jared Cook came into this game and made a difference. Richard Rodgers had a play or two. Our tight end play, when we went two tight ends in this in particular, was very good. Not only did Jared Cook make some plays in the passing game, he had some backside blocks in this game that made Eddie Lacy successful. So we were correct about the tight ends being crucial in this game, and whoever won the tight end battle to some extent would win this game. If the Packers had been able to score, if Rudolph hadn't scored the one touchdown, this would have given the nod to us in terms of the tight ends play, and we probably would have won the game. You know, had Cook taken the first down when he had it. But my goodness. So we did some decent things on offense, but this offense just needs to get in sync. What else did we talk about that was correct? All right. How many out there thought Julius Peppers was going to have a little more impact in this game than he did against the Jacksonville Jaguars? One of them, you thumbs up if you were expecting Julius Peppers to have more of an impact. He had a sack and a half in this game. And man, we saw three of our guys. I think Dayton Jones was the only guy who didn't end up getting a piece of that one sack where all three of those guys met in the middle. Perry, Peppers, and Dayton Jones coming over the top just a little too late to get the stat. So let's talk about our defense for a minute. I may go back and forth a little bit. Our defense, okay, well, here's a statement from the defensive side that says something about our offense, because we're supposed to be talking about offense right now. Let me make a comment right now. Listen to this very closely. Anytime our defense keeps the opposing offense's third down efficiency to 20-something%, the Green Bay Packers should win that game going away. Let me repeat that.
Anytime our defense, and we've done it for 2 weeks in a row, keeps the opposing offense to 20-some% in third down efficiency, the Green Bay Packers should win the game going away. Adrian Peterson with 1.9 yards per carry. He had like 1 yard in the first half, for crying out loud. Anytime this defense does that, we've done it 2 games in a row. And last week, we had to deal with them going for it 4 times on fourth down on top of that. Now, we gave up 75% of the fourth downs. But like I said last week, defenses are hardwired to make third down count. And our third down defense is as good as it gets right now. We should win games going away when we hold the opposing offense to 20-something%. I think last week it was 26%. This week, 28% in third down efficiency. So where's the offense in this? And this goes back to why, when we're talking about the offense, right? This goes back to when I see Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy stand up. Mike McCarthy, an offensive coach, offensive mind. Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback of our team. I'd like to see him take a little bit more responsibility. Last year, at least, they had the excuse that Jordy Nelson wasn't on the field. They don't have that anymore. Jordy Nelson got us on the board. There's no excuse for that, all right? Again, however, let me finish. I'll close out. I'm going to see if there's anything more I really wanted to talk about in terms of we gave the game ball away. We have too many penalties on offense. We have too many penalties. Two penalties I will talk about. Early on, Daniels getting the personal foul. That was just an aggressive play. I love Daniels. He had a phenomenal game with a sack in this game. That's not easy to do. They're moving him around a little bit off the left edge. I love the way Daniels plays. I'm not going to take that away from him. You know, it's something that we kind of wish didn't happen, and it was costly in this situation because then the kickoff. But or no, that wasn't the kickoff. But let me mention on the offensive side, all right? Let's emoji this one. Give me a heart if you are okay with J.C. Tretter freaking going after the guy who took a cheap pop on Aaron Rodgers in the end zone. Give me a heart if you're okay with that. I know it was costly. But I would sit on the sideline and I would freaking knuckle bump Tretter every time, because when an opposing team does something like that, we have got to get in their face and let them know it's not okay. This was a physical game, but when you get pops like that on a quarterback who's standing in the end zone, 3 yards deep in the end zone, I loved seeing our offensive line rally around Aaron Rodgers in that one. And I know it's costly. Like there is a side of me that would like to, but I want our team to show that we will not put up with that kind of crap. And Josh is saying Tretter wasn't in the wrong. I got a lot of hearts flowing across the screen. Again, these are costly penalties, but these are ones that in the room when they cut it up, they're not going to be really ragging on J.C. Tretter over that one, I don't think. And I certainly am not. I loved it, to be quite honest. Again, these can be costly. And again, you couldn't look at this play, and why wasn't that at least offsetting? You know, why wasn't the hit called as well? At least this could have been offsetting. But it's off-putting that we've got guys, taking a shot at Aaron Rodgers when he's obviously scored the touchdown. So J.C. Tretter, we had too many penalties in this game. We had too many penalties in the last game. Penalties are something that this Green Bay Packer team needs to clean up on both sides of the ball. We had the advantage of some penalties called in this game as well. We had a lot of PIs that we took advantage of. That's okay by me. But again, I would suspect if you look at the yardage, penalties probably added up to more yardage than our offense had altogether by the time all's said and done in this game. Offense is not where it needs to be, okay? All right, we'll close the offensive talk with this. Again, we have a chance now to go home, and then we've got a bye. So there is time for this offense to get together. When I looked at this offense play, when they were clicking, they were dominant. They just weren't clicking enough. So that tells me that we still have the combination of guys on the field that can get the job done. And let me add one more thing we talked about last week that was absolutely true. Remember, how many of you were with me that Devontae Adams, what he showed on the field, would have a big impact on whether we won or lost this game. And Davante Adams again out there with a big big chance with a big catch, but shucked the defender and got the interference call. That could have been a huge play. That could have been, again, at least a field goal we're looking at in that game, or on that play. Davante Adams, again, was bipolar in this game. Let's look at his stats. Adams had 3 catches for 26 yards and a long of 13. And then a couple crucial drops and a crucial penalty. I don't think he needed to shuck. I don't know if it was Jalen Ramsey in that one. I didn't think he needed to do that. All he needed to do was come back to the ball. But what we talked about that. We talked about our third wide receiver, Davante Adams, needing to make a statement in this game. And now we got, again, that sort of bipolar Adams that makes you really wonder why Ty Montgomery isn't getting more playing time, why Jared Abbrederis might not be getting more playing time. But again, you saw that when Adams is on it, his skills set gives him an edge on a lot of defenders. The blame, we'll put the blame where it belongs. When Davante Adams goes out and has a bipolar game, he needs to improve. We're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers had a terrible game. We talked about that early on, Jeff. Aaron Rodgers had a terrible game. When you go out on the field and our supposedly elite quarterback looks worse than a guy who just got traded to a team, had a couple weeks to perform, and gets out on the field, and because it's home field advantage, he suddenly is a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers had a terrible game. Started off this show talking about how Aaron Rodgers needed to take more culpability in his press conference after this game. Nobody's shying away from Aaron Rodgers, but Davante Adams was a key ingredient to winning this game, period. We knew what Jordy Nelson was going to do. We knew what Randall Cobb was going to be able to do. Davante Adams needs to get it together, or it's time for some other people to have a shot. Because we don't have the other threes. Ty Montgomery is a very fluid athlete, but Adams has some real serious skills. But he needs to be solid. He needs to be somebody that we can rely on. There were times when the pass, I don't think Aaron Rodgers' accuracy in this game was absolutely not Rodgers-like at all. And that's why you're looking at, he had some yards when all was said and done. But boy, overthrown balls. We're talking about Ryan here. And we were lucky. We were lucky. As many times as we put the ball on the carpet, that's another thing you cannot do in these games. You cannot turn the ball over. Ball security is something the Green Bay Packers talk about all the time. We saw the ball hit the carpet way too many times. We were lucky to have Randall Cobb on there falling on these things in heads-up plays a couple of times. And when it's all said and done, if you put the ball on the carpet enough times, you're going to lose. And that's exactly what we did. We were fortunate in a couple situations, but then, it's bound to catch up with you. And here's the, let's talk about the running game. There's a couple things that concern me about the running game. One is why Eddie Lacy disappears for an entire quarter. I can see us rotating James Starks in, but I don't know. I wondered if Lacy was hurt because he came back into the game later. I have no problem with us rotating Starks into the rotation, but why do we do this entire quarters of one running back over the other? I guess we're trying to get them off the ground. But when we are on in a goal-to-go situation, whatever running back you put on the field better be your number one running back. Why is number 44 on the field when we are in a goal-to-go situation? Unless Lacy is hurt, he should be on the field. What is going on with that? There's no excuse. You got to change your depth chart if you're going to be putting number 44 on the field in these situations. That concerns me. And secondly, what concerns me is this, and we saw when we ran there. To my mind, there are two types of running plays. There are only two types of running plays, guys. There are running plays that start north to south and look for the east to west. There are running plays that start east to west and look for the north to south. Eddie Lacy he was successful in this game when we started north to south and let him bounce it out to east to west. And all we did, to some extent, there were a few plays we went north to south, and we were successful. But what we tried to do is beat these guys to the edges. Why would you try to beat the Minnesota Vikings linebacker group to the edges and their defensive line? We're constantly, with James Starks and Eddie Lacy, playing this east to west, trying to be patient, let it develop, and then go north to south. Why not shove Eddie Lacy down these guys' throat off the A-gap? And you saw we had success when we finally did that. But we continued to try to have this east-west patient running game. And there are times when that works. But number one, Eddie, that's not playing to Eddie Lacy's strength. I have said in this preseason, Eddie Lacy has shown he's able to do that better than he has been in the past. But against the Minnesota Vikings, come on. That's we got Philip on here saying pound the rock. And I think we can be successful with those stretch plays and the pitch outs, but it's after we play the north-south game. Look at what Eddie Lacy is good at, guys. When he gets into the second level, he can drill a linebacker and bounce off with the spin move and get into the third level. But he is not the kind of back that's, he's not going to run out there. If there's a wide open gap on the outside, yeah, he's going to take it and make some yards. That's so playing into the Vikings defensive hands. So I better close out the offensive discussion because frankly I could talk about this offense all day long. We know the one thing that's good about this again is we've got, thanks Kyle. Kyle's out there. Yeah, there's two kinds of runs in the NFL. There's two kinds of runs in football, guys. One of them, you're going to run A gap, B gap, and you're going to try to get north and south and then look for a break, look for a move, make somebody miss, get it blocked up, and then go. Or you're going to go east to west, and then you're going to wait for it to get blocked up before you go north to south. I am sure that it was because they were stacking the box. I'll go back and look at it again, but I'm sure that's why we played the game we did. But I just feel like we played into the Vikings' hands in that, which is, it's kind of counterintuitive to say that because when a team's stacking the box, if you can get to the outside, then yeah, you may have an advantage there. But guys, it doesn't play to Eddie Lacy's strength. And, we needed to get Eddie Lacy going in this game. One thing we said at halftime was we needed to stay with the run and not go away with it. And all of a sudden, Eddie Lacy just completely disappears. They literally take him off the field for an entire quarter, I guess it was. And including when we're in the red zone and we need our starting running back on the field. And it may be, did he tweak something? Did he have a calf that they needed to, a hammy they needed to work out? Did he have a cramp? What was going on? Didn't see anything of that. We just saw Eddie Lacy disappear for huge quantities of time. And that's nothing against James Starks. I know there are lovers and haters of James Starks out there. I got nothing against James Starks. I'm happy that he's our second running back. But I'm unhappy when he goes on when the first string running back should be in the game. So this offense did some good things. Randall Cobb with a brilliant game. Jordy Nelson, they did a pretty good job, handling Jordy Nelson. But we will see. That's going to develop. Obviously, they did a good job using Jared Cook with the one bad play. But I'm becoming a fan of Jared Cook, and I'm becoming a fan if we can. I don't know why. Where was the short passing game early? It was like we wanted to go for shot play after shot play early on. We wanted to hit Devontae Adams. We wanted to hit Jordy Nelson. But as soon as we started going to the short play, the short game, passing game, we had success. When they start bringing pressure, why do we continue to drop back 5 and 7 steps and try to bomb it down the field? When we got Jared Cook out there, the reason we brought him in here was for exactly that situation. There is no linebacker, even the Vikings have, that can compete with Jared Cook. If the ball is placed right, which again, you're helping Aaron Rodgers as well, who was very shaken up. Aaron Rodgers looked rattled from the beginning in this game, which is really saying something because our defense rattled Bradford from the beginning in this game, and he was able to get over it and get in sync. Packers with 4 sacks in this game. Vikings with 4 sacks in this game. All right? So even-handed there. And then Sam Bradford handles it better than Aaron Rodgers did. Moving on to the defense. Again, this defense held the Vikings offense with Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson held to 1.9 yards per carry. Absolutely ineffective in the first half of the game. They tried to do a few things with the play action with Adrian, and it still didn't work. And then, of course, Adrian Peterson goes out with the injury that looks like it may be serious. It looked like he might have got his foot twisted, but it may have caused a knee injury. Not sure what happened there, but anyway, Adrian Peterson out for the rest of that game. Our defense holding the Vikings to 28% on third down. I mean, that you should be winning games when the defense does that. Our defensive line played a brilliant game in this game. 4 sacks. Julius Peppers, we said last week Julius Peppers was going to get some more reps and was going to have more of an impact in this game. We were right about that. Trevor wants to talk about, we had a punt blocked in this game. That's the only time we can get points is when our defense gives us yardage, okay? And we'll talk about special teams in a little bit. I don't want to forget to talk about special teams. But I'm running out of breath. But this defense, again, we knew going into this game we were going to give up plays underneath. I'm concerned when you're starting to see a pattern where our cornerbacks cannot get the job done out of the back of the end zone. But you got to give, Morgan Burnett had pretty decent coverage on that play. I watched that play. That was not a blown coverage. That was a well-placed ball, kind of ball that we could not get out of Aaron Rodgers in this game. That was a perfectly placed ball. Once you get your shoulders turned, playing from that trailing position is extremely difficult. Morgan Burnett could have used maybe another half step, but now you've got the problem of pass interference in that. If I remember right, he had his head turned, did just about everything he could. I just got to give credit, frankly, to Sam Bradford, who played a better game than Aaron Rodgers, and Kyle Rudolph in that game, or in that play. But when Toby, people want to talk about the punting, and yeah, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. All right. I guess everybody wants to move to special teams. So let's just say this. The defense gave away too many big plays, too many explosive plays in this game. However, we know that this Dom Capers defense, when it plays that much nickel, where stuff underneath is going to be, it's going to tend to be soft underneath. What we are good at then is bringing the heat when we need to bring the heat, closing it up, tightening it up. We're pretty dang good in the red zone, and our third down efficiency was fantastic. So whatever happened, you can't ask, there's not a whole lot more. You can't ask a defense to do absolutely everything and do everything right when the offense continues to put them on the field like this. Period. When the offense continues to put this much pressure on it, they did it last week. In 112 degrees, they did it. And then this week, we did the same thing. You cannot ask a defense to be perfect in that situation. We kept them to 28% in third down efficiency. We kept Adrian Peterson to like 1.9 yards per carry. I could count probably again. We had almost a half dozen negative yardage plays. Defense was extremely active. So our defense in this game, we should have won this game walking away, period. Period. They gave up 1 touchdown to Kyle. That was a beautiful play. And Guyon was looking good. Our defensive line is looking active. Clay Matthews and Julius Peppers. And then we see not only that, but we see Perry and Dayton Jones really coming on strong. There's good things going on in the defense. How about emoji me what you think about the special teams right now? Emoji me this. How do you feel about the punting game? I want to give a shout out to Ty Montgomery with a beautiful job on the blocked kick that ended up giving us some points. If I'm remembering right, that was where we came off of that to get our touchdowns. I love what he did. Honestly, I cannot believe that Ty Montgomery didn't get called for a penalty in that. She put a shoulder right into the punter. That was crazy. I got Brian trying to catch up with me. That was crazy. But here's the deal. I did a little bit of math on this, guys, and emoji me your thoughts right now on the special teams. I did some math on this, and at this point, with the punting averaging a hair over 40, under 40, it's 38.5, if I'm remembering correctly in this game. Shum with, not even able to make 40 yards. Okay? Guys, we are going to have to basically get past like the 55 or 65 yard line before we can play to Shum's strength right now. He's getting hang time on the ball. What you're seeing out of his ball, it's a very vertical ball as it comes down. And what this tells us is, number one, it can land very flat, and we saw a little bit of that. That is very positive if you drop it inside the 5. Folks, we are not ever going to even get close to the 5 yard line with a punt if our special teams continues this way. Last year, our special teams was good. You know, we were fine with getting rid of Kuhn. Janis out there looks active, but he can't make tackles right now. But he does look active. When he gets his hand back, I think we'll get a little boost in our special teams. He's still beating people out there. But for crying out loud, we are not ever going to make like the 55 and 65 yard line where we can play to this kid's strength. I mean, it's obvious to me that's the reason that we cut Mastay and Mortel. Either or would have been better at this point to me. I said that the punter move was the first boneheaded move of this Packers offseason. You know, of course, it was overshadowed by letting Sitten go later. But I sat here and said that was a boneheaded move. We've done this experiment before, and it's bit us in the butt. Now, you know, hey, if our offense can get us to the 65-yard line minimal every time, we might as well just kick a field goal. Mason Crosby's got a better chance of putting it through the uprights than Shum has of dropping it inside the 5 at this point. Let's kick everything from 70 on in at this point. Yeah, special teams, it was an ugly situation. And again, you know, we talked about it last week. Our special teams, I would give the nod all day to the Minnesota Vikings from what I've seen so far. The only caveat to that I said was I'll take Mason Crosby all day long. But did we give Mason Crosby a chance to make the difference in this game? Nope. He didn't even get a chance to take the field and make the difference. So, and Brian saying Sitten is not missed. Taylor with another nice game in that. So, yeah, obviously, when I mentioned that Sitten overshadowed the move, I at the time, now I see what we were doing with that. I still don't agree with it. You just wait 4 months until his contract runs out. And in the meantime, you get a deal done, or maybe you can get something out of it. But at the same time, this is nothing against Lane Taylor, nothing against the left side of our line. Because remember, the one successful play where we finally played to Eddie Lacy's strength, first play from scrimmage, we'd run a stretch play and he gets buried. But then when we run off Lane Taylor's hip, we had a successful run. So, and we've got disagreement. Of course, Sitten is missed. Well, let's just emoji a little. Let's do a little poll here. Give me a thumbs up if you think we're okay with Lane Taylor. We're over Josh Sitten, the whole thing. Go to the other side on the angry face if you completely disagree with that. I think Sitten is missed in certain situations, obviously, and I don't see any reason why I just don't see any reason why we had to make this move now. I mean, the money wasn't the issue. I mean, if you look back at what they paid Bakhtiari, it may have been pushing the envelope a little bit, so maybe they were able to get the deal done sooner. Look at, they haven't, as far as we know, aren't even talking to TJ Lang right now. TJ actually, I thought TJ had a worse game than Taylor did in this one. That's just, of course, I haven't gone back and looked at it. But the special teams are not helping us out. Field position. This is one thing. I know you guys know this too and notice this too. Sorry, I don't mean to point at everybody. That's not polite. But I know you guys recognize this too, right? Field position was not good in the Jacksonville Jaguars game, obviously. Field position, we all knew, and I don't think I ever talked about it. I meant to talk about this, but field position was going to be another crucial component, key statistic in this game. Once again, we can't win the battle of field position except when Ty Montgomery gave us good field position with the blocked punt. So we have got, we have got to get this. We've got to improve on special teams. And again, this goes back to I would like to see Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy is an offensive mind. Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback of the team. I would like to see them take more responsibility in this. And even though I agree, the sky is not falling, it's the second week of the season. So I'd like to see more in that. Hopefully they take responsibility in the sense that they get their butts to work and get this thing fixed. The offense definitely not playing up to par, what we're expecting out of a Green Bay Packers offense. The defense doing enough for us to win this game. A few play calls, and again, we have miscues. We had Randall Cobb out of position on one play. We had J.C. Treader not snapping the ball. We had false starts, and of course, we had Treader with the penalty that none of us is worried about because it was him standing up for Aaron Rodgers when Aaron Rodgers got popped in the end zone. So, do we need to pick up anybody? Trevor's asking if we need to pick up somebody in free agency. It's a good question. My answer would be no, because remember, Sam Shields not playing in this game was a big part of our problem right now. Sam Shields is the guy that we count on from time to time. He's the veteran guy out there. He has a lot to do with our success in the defensive backfield. And again, the defense played a good enough game. It doesn't mean there weren't things that we would need to clean up on defense, but the defense played a good enough game. Peter is calling for more slants, drags, and if you saw me talk at halftime, this was one of the things that we called for it at halftime. We talked about it last week, and when we came out in the second half, we did it, and then our offense started rolling, and that is get the tight ends involved. Start throwing short pass over pressure and take the pressure away. So we have got to get the offense rolling. There's no question about it. And it starts and ends with the quarterback play and the continuity between the quarterback and the coaching staff, the play calling. Let me ask you this. This is not off the subject actually, but it's something I noticed. Did anybody else out there give me a thumbs up, okay? If you noticed right now, the cameraman went in and did an absolute close-up on Mike McCarthy's face, showing half of his play card, the back half of his play card. And I was looking at that, I was like, I know you can read half of his plays right there. Did anybody else notice that? It was a little strange to me. Not that, I mean, frankly, maybe McCarthy's play calling is so vanilla that it doesn't matter. Everybody already knows what we're doing. And in this case, I think maybe he tried to get cute with all these stretch plays and stuff, and it didn't work. It backfired. But it looks like maybe a few people out there also saw this. I mean, they went close up on him, and what they were doing is showing him call the play with the card in front of his face. But the entire half of that card was zoomed in on, and easily, I couldn't quite get it into focus. But I guarantee you somebody can. And I know that's going to show up in some training rooms when people have to play the Packers from now on. Again, if we would do our job. So nobody get on and say, talk about what's important. No, I'm just asking if you noticed this. Connie thinks we're too predictable. It doesn't matter if anybody sees his card. It matters if they're showing close-ups of a play card. It matters regardless. Whether we're predictable or not, just de facto, we shouldn't be doing that. That whoever that cameraman is needs to have a talking to. That shouldn't happen in the NFL. That's extremely important. If you have any concern about really whether that's important or not, then just ask yourself, why is McCarthy covering the single play that he's calling one time? Why is he covering his face for that in the first place? So did not factor into our game. Just an interesting note that I saw. What factored into this game, to my mind, is the fact that Aaron Rodgers was off. Devontae Adams was bipolar. And Jared Cook and our tight ends were not fed the ball enough in this game. Same thing with Eddie Lacy. Eddie Lacy was not fed the ball enough in this. If you had asked me, we said this. If you were listening last week, and I know a bunch of you agree, if Eddie Lacy, these were my words, all right? I know you guys, half of you agree with this at least. If Eddie Lacy had like 60 to 70 yards in this game, didn't have to have a 100-yard game. Didn't even have to have 85 yards in this game. If Eddie Lacy had 65 or 70 yards in this game, we would win this game. And we didn't achieve that. And part of it was because of these stretch plays and pitch outs. Sean is wanting Abradaris on the field. Interesting question or statement there, Sean, because I talked about my cousin and I were texting back and forth. He's in Madison. And that was the first thing he said when Adam started to struggle. Looks like it's time for Abby to get out on the field and get some playing time. We put him on the field, a couple times against the Jaguars. He made a nice catch. So we will see what happens, guys. We know Packers offense has some work to do. To my mind, it starts with Aaron Rodgers. It is very telling to watch Sam Bradford go out there and outperform against Aaron Rodgers. And listen, he outperformed Aaron Rodgers and Sam Bradford's, their brand new line that they spent all this money again was abysmal last night. They were abysmal. I mean, they have got to be unhappy with their offense. Or basically, our defensive line is that strong. We have a rotation like none other right now. And yet Sam Bradford was able to throw the touchdown pass to Rudolph, was able to handle the pressure better, and was more accurate, had more yards, and won the freaking game. That is telling. And that's, again, what I go back to. If you have a bad game, at least just stand up and say, listen, there's stuff that I need to clean up. It starts with me. This is what I want, to see out of a quarterback. Yeah, so Kyle Brady for play caller. Well, you know, I mean, I think we're seeing a few things, and this is things that Packer Nation has been talking about for a long time. To be quite honest, a lot of you guys have been talking about this with me, interacting with Jeff when he does the Rants and Raves, about the things the Packers need to do. Obviously, I can't go out and I don't read every set the way these guys do. But again, from time to time, we need to do what we do best. This is philosophically, okay? This goes back to my coach and my brother's coach and the coach that my dad coached with. And you've heard this in your high schools too. You can thumbs up me or give me a heart if you agree with this statement. You do what you do until they stop it. If you have Eddie Lacy, you run the ball down their throat until they stop it. You put your foot in the ground, you draw a line in the sand, and you say, this is what we're going to do because we're better than you. We're going to take you down, and until you stop it, we are going to pound it and pound it and pound it down your throat. And of course, we're going to mix in a pass here and there, but if Jordy Nelson is on fire, you feed him and you feed him and you feed him. But how about this? Not even just Eddie Lacy. How about in this game? If Jared Cook is catching passes over the middle and consistently getting first downs, hey there, Phil, how you doing? If he's consistently getting first downs and Rodgers in there as well, why don't we consistently throw the short pass over the middle to a guy who's 6'5" and bigger than all their linebackers and weighs as much as their linebackers out there? So that's the thing that philosophically I will take to every football game you can disagree with me if you want on that. But I will take that to every football game. I'll take it. I've seen a lot of success in football games that I've watched. You know, this comes from my coach. He kind of drilled it into us, and I know some of you guys have heard it before. It can be pound the rock. Well, does this not? Okay, let's talk about this. Does this not go back to Vince Lombardi's power sweep? We're going to do it. We're going to do it right every time, and we are going to beat you with it because you cannot beat us when we do it. So I can probably get a thumbs up for that. It's basically, and if you look at the coaching, there is some connection between my high school coach in Black River that goes back to some coach who was a big fan of Vince Lombardi and watched him with the Packer sweep. We're going to get a seal here, we're going to get a seal here, and we're going to run this play in the alley, and you will not stop us because we will be better than you at this play every single time. Wow, I mean, that's unheard of anymore. And you look at the preseason, and Mike McCarthy talked a lot about not focusing on plays, but focusing on players. So why do you pull Eddie Lacy out for an entire, 3 series in a row then? So, I mean, there's I see a lot of people are agreeing with me on that. You know, I got to take my lumps if you disagree. That's okay. But for crying out loud, let's do what we do. Let's do what we do well enough. The line loves that kind of an attitude. Offensive lines love that kind of an attitude. Our defensive line, we have showed that we're going to do what we do until you stop us. And that does mean that we are going to see this defense is going to have a tendency to see shot plays and big 20-plus yard gains from time to time. There were too many. I'm not disagreeing that there aren't. You know, we want to have less of those. But we are going to do what we do. And we're gonna send a bunch of guys on our defensive line that can all get to the quarterback, and we're gonna meet in the middle and make a quarterback sandwich out of you. And we're gonna do that to everybody. You know, we had 3 sacks against the Jacksonville Jaguars in a game where our defense played the second half gassed. Too much pressure because the offense did nothing. Same thing here against the Vikings. Defense, I mean, there wasn't the temperature, there wasn't the heat, but we put that pressure on again. And Michael's saying, Aaron said relax, and I completely, that's not the attitude to take at this point. The sky is not falling. Now I'll tell you one thing, Aaron didn't get in his press conference to tell anybody to relax this time because he knew he played poorly. We have to play better. We have to play better on offense. So no, the sky is not falling. It's week 2, but there are corrections to be made. We need to make them before Detroit comes to town. Because, you know, Detroit didn't have anywhere near as good a game, but they put up 40-plus, was it 39 points week 1? So Detroit can push us even further down in the division. If Minnesota loses next week and we can get a win against Detroit, we are back right in the thick of things, and it's early in the season. So there is a lot to look forward to. We're going to continue to talk about. Lamar is saying stop putting Cobb in the backfield. Cobb is such a weapon. I don't mind seeing us put Cobb in the backfield, except for the way we have to do it. We have to do it because nobody else can get the job done right now. So yeah, we said, I don't know if you caught it earlier, but I said, we're going to get Randall Cobb killed by the time this season is over if we have to keep doing this. I think if we mix him in once in a while, he is dangerous. And, you do have to use a guy like that from time to time. But we're doing it out of desperation in my mind right now because we can't get Eddie Lacy. We can't get James Starks. And when we're doing this east to west approach, this east-west primary running, the only guy that's going to be successful is Randall Cobb. James Starks is a put-your-foot-in-the-ground type of a runner. He's not nifty. Eddie Lacy is a north-to-south runner. And now we're going this east-to-west crap. The only player that we have on the field who can play that kind of game is Randall Cobb. But we're going to get him killed. So I agree with you. I want to see less. I don't necessarily think he should disappear because he is a weapon in that aspect of our game. But yeah, we're going to get him killed out there. Man, Yolanda doesn't want Cobb hurt. All right, let's give a heart to Randall Cobb. Game ball from me. I think a lot of people saw him with the game ball in this game. Just in the right place a lot of the times. They had to use him out of the backfield because he's the only guy that could get some yardage from time to time in this game. He offered a spark when we needed it. Did a lot of good things, especially covering up all of these fumbles that we had that were absolutely too many. Putting the football on the carpet 4 times and then throwing an interception at a critical time. Randall Cobb was a big part of the reason that we were still in this game in terms of offense. Of course, our defense really would get the whole game ball. If there was one game ball to be given, I would give it to our defensive line and I thought our linebackers. Let's talk about the linebackers for just a minute, okay? Michael's saying it's early, right? We need to find consistency. Exactly. That's really the theme right now, okay? But let's talk about the defense. Let's talk about our linebacker group. Here's my assessment, all right, just overall of the linebacker play, okay? So let me know what you think. You can thumbs up or whatever if you want. It looked to me like we have a young up-and-coming inside linebacker group in particular, all right? The Vikings group right now is a bit better. They are playing completely coordinated defense. We saw Martinez do some youthful things out there. But we see our interior line, in particular, Thomas with another nice hit in this game. We saw out of Ryan, we saw a nice negative play tackle by him, and also a beautiful pass defense by Ryan in this game. This is great. And then Martinez with a very active game. I would, if you're going to say one group is better than the other, I think if you're talking interior, inside linebackers, I think, yeah, you still have to give the nod to the Vikings, but I like what I'm seeing out of our inside linebackers right now. I really like what we're seeing. I mean, you can't play against Adrian Peterson and hold him to the kind of yardage we held. He was absolutely ineffective in the first half, pretty much. And we've moved Clay Matthews back outside. That was what was the biggest question mark in this offseason was whether we would be able to do that. And we were able to do that. Okay? All right. Well, I guess I'm gonna let it go. I hope that this was therapeutic for you guys to get on and make your presence known a bit, talk about the game. Packers are 1-1. Sky is not falling. But this offense needs to get going. We have some things in the secondary we need to clean up, but keep in mind, we were playing without Sam Shields. So that's not an excuse. I'm not going to make that as an excuse for anything. But what I am saying is there is the possibility, that we can get him back. Most importantly, we just want Sam Shields to get healthy. And our young players, again, you learn more from your failures than your successes. They can go back to the film, and hopefully on defense, too, we can get things corrected. Because, yes, there were too many explosive plays. But all in all, our defense, once again, doing enough, and with a lot of pressure put on them by the number of times. I think we punted the ball like 7 times in this game or something. Or no, they punted the ball 7. I think we punted 5 times. So the Packers need a big win against Detroit, and we'll be talking about that for the rest of the week. I'll go back. We'll do some more analysis of this game because, again, this is the Vikings. They are trying to make a statement here. They made a statement in their new home. It ended up being a defensive struggle. I think our defense did enough, especially the way we got to Sam Bradford, that we should have been able to pull this game out. Okay, so you can keep rolling your thoughts. We've got people, very unhappy with the coaching staff. I know there's going to be a lot of unhappiness today, but I don't want to end on a negative note. I want to end on a positive note. Keep in mind, folks, it could be worse. I know it doesn't seem like it. But look at the players. We still have to look at the players we have available to us on offense, okay? This is a good group of players. All right? We've got to get in sync. Aaron Rodgers we've got to do a lot of things better. And I know everybody out there is very unhappy with the performance, as was I. I think Jonah ended up whipping his Packer hat across the room last night. And apparently, okay, I talked about taking responsibility, okay? Let me close with this. Just a little aside. All right, I need to take responsibility as a fan right now, okay? Because apparently I did not knuckle bump Sherm the Creepy Caddy. If you saw it during the halftime show, I'll introduce again Sherm the Creepy Caddy. He's this statue of a caddy that's like this ghostly white thing that has his hand out like this. So you always knuckle bump Sherm. And I apparently did not knuckle bump Sherm the Creepy Caddy right enough times. I had the winning shirt on from the Jaguars game, but apparently it was not enough. So I am taking some of the blame myself for not being, I'm not going to talk about whether or not I changed my underwear, okay? But I'll get it right next week, okay? I've got a week to go back. I'm going to look at the tape. How many times did I knuckle bump Sherm? And we're gonna get it right, okay? We're gonna get it right. So gotta take a little responsibility as a fan here, okay? In the meantime, folks, I'm gonna close. I need to put the ring on. I need to put Precious on today because I didn't put him on earlier, and he's calling my name. If you haven't, go to greenbaypackernation.com. I put up a new post that now includes a preview to the game. So if you haven't had a chance to see the preview, how this thing's going to work, I think this game is going to be a lot of fun. If there are games when the Packers falter a little bit like this, I think it's going to be nice to have something to focus on, and it's going to be a good touchstone to have something to talk about afterwards, because there are going to be times where we're going to have a chance to get it right in the game and see what the Packers do coming back and see if it matches. That's going to be really cool. So it's greenbaypackernation.com. You just click on the post that says get the app before the game even comes, or get in before the app even comes out. Fill out the form, name, phone number, email, and I will send you a personal invite. I don't want to belabor this point. We're excited about this game because it's going to be a ton of fun. But what we are going to do, just to keep, there are some people that don't have Android or iPhone, and so Julie is saying she didn't do enough either. Didn't have it was a Packer shirt, I guess, on. I hope you had a shirt on, so because you could read that in a couple different ways. But we're going to move, when the game comes out, we're going to move the discussion of that to a brand new Facebook page so that it doesn't get annoying, because I know I get on here, I talk about things that are exciting to me. All you guys have been thumbs up and hearting to talk about the game, so I don't get the feeling anybody's ticked off about it yet. But I can see if you're not able to play or don't want to play, that might get annoying. So I do want you to know, while we talk about it now, when the game comes out, we're going to move all that so we can do all of it in one place. It's going to be really fun to be able to do. But also keep in mind, you're going to be able to do your smack talking and all your self-aggrandizement right in the games, because it has its own social element. So it's going to be really cool. David said, my heart feels better now. I hope it does. I hope it's because, we've had a chance to talk these issues out, okay? Tell me about your childhood. Tell me about your Packer childhood. Hey, that's a good point. Tell me about my childhood was when the Packers couldn't buy a win. They couldn't even get to the playoffs, okay? So I'm gonna balance it out with a little bit of that therapy. All right, folks? Charlene said she didn't have her Packer coin or shamrock necklace on. Guys, these guys are getting up there and owning up to it, taking responsibility. Packer Nation rules. All right, I didn't do enough. Sherm is going to be decked out next week. I'm not sure what to do. I might change to the heather red Packer shirt. It's not pink. I think Jared calls it salmon. It's very manly. Very rugged. But we're going to do what we can do. But then we also know that this Packers team is not going to be happy. Here's what we're learning. What we expected was that this Packers team with Jordy Nelson back was going to hit the ground running. We thought that they were going to make a statement early. They have not been able to do that. But they still have the same personnel. They still got Jordy back. They still got Jared Cook. We've got to focus on the fact that there are some good players out there making some good plays. And once we put them together, expect that this offense can be okay. We have no other choice because we are moving forward with who we've got. So let's end with that. Patrick says, yes, Heather Red. So we are going to get her done, folks. It's another day, another chance for the Packers to get some corrections in. You guys have a great day. I am sorry that I can't talk to you today about a big Packer win and being 2-0, but sometimes when early in the season you stumble, it really shows you a lot about your team, and you have a chance now to be better going on. Packers have been away from home for a month, and now they get to come back home till the middle of October, I think. They get a bye week in there with time to practice, time to heal up, and it's going to be, if we can pull off another couple wins in this first quarter of the season, we will be okay moving forward. The sky's not falling, even though we have things that we need to get better, all right? So I will close with that, folks, and you guys have a great day. Even though it's not a day where we can celebrate a Packers win, it's still a great day to be a Packer fan. Have a good one out there. Thank you so much for jumping in and jumping on. I really appreciate it. If you're watching this on YouTube and you want to give me a subscription, you want to subscribe to the channel, that would help us out a great deal as well. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Go Pack.